Okay, I think now we are all in. So very warm welcome to our PAQ Practitioner in Agile Quality webinar, which will be held by our two experts, Leanne Howard and Mike Smith. I would first introduce myself. I'm Susanna, Product Manager by iSQI, and also make a short introduction to iSQI, who we are and what we are doing, and then we'll hand over to Mike and Leanne. So let's start. iSQI. Who are we? iSQI, we are the International Software Quality Institute who are working worldwide and providing worldwide exams. Since 2004, we are have provided 150,000 exams. Besides, this year we are celebrating our 15th birthday, so please stay updated and follow our social media channels. iSQI is based on with headquarters in Potsdam in Germany, with the branches in UK, Netherlands, and US in Boston. We are providing over 30,000 certifications per year in 6 continents and 100 countries and 10 languages. We are working with more than 500 invigilators worldwide. So if you are interested in our certifications or have interest in reading our blog articles regarding the new certifications and IT news, yeah, you can go to our website. You have the informations available in German, English, Spanish, and Russian languages. iSQI is working together with international experts, and we are working according to the high 5 standards. So we are independent of companies or products. We are industry focused, so always updated on the demand by the market itself. We are ISO compliant in accordance with the ISO 17024. And we are working internationally, so our certifications have an international standard. It's not an isolated solution. And of course, we are always improving and constantly checking the quality to improve our certifications. So iSQI is a global certification company, and we are working with the established boards and training providers who are conducting the trainings. And after this, iSQI as exam provider is providing the exams and also issues the certificates. So yeah, which certifications does iSQI offer? We offer currently over 50 different certifications, vendor neutral and industry focused, in almost every possible IT area. So you can find the most important, maybe the software testing area, also in requirements engineering, business analysis, certifications with agile methods, project management, maturity model, software architecture, and usability. iSQI is also offering once or sometimes twice a year an event which is called iSQI Certification Days. In these events, you can take part in live webinars and hear about the popular certification schemes, and also check out your skills by taking a mock exam. So please have a look at this web page. There you can always stay updated about the next event. iSQI is offering the exams in different channels. So for example, directly after the training, paper-based or in online-based SMEX format. So iSQI is sending directly to your offices an invigilator if you have at least 6 participants who are taking the exams. and there is also a more individual option to take the exam at one of the 5,000 test centers of Pearson VUE worldwide, or a very flexible option also if you want to take it, for example, at home. You need only to have your webcam on your computer and take it as flex exam. Just a short overview about the different certifications we offer. So, for example, the A4Q certifications, we have the Selenium tester, the Agile Practitioner in Agile Quality, about what we will have also our webinar today, design thinking, and coming soon, AI and software testing, Appium tester, Agile Diploma, and Agile Master. We have also the iSQI, the standard for software testing. So here you have all the portfolio of the iSQI, which you can find on our website. And all the different levels. The IREP, the standard for requirements engineering, the UXQI for usability and user experience in different levels, career skills for agile environments. So for everyone to take the certified Agile Essentials, like just to know how to work with agile methods. For business analysts, the CABA, Certified Agile Business Analysis. For testers and the whole team, and the PAQ certification, and for everyone to improve the business and to find creative solutions and the design thinking. And further certifications like the test maturity model and the super certificate test process improver of the TMMI, ESIQB, the software architecture, LSSA, Lean Six Sigma, and IFPOC function point analysis. So if you have any questions on this, and also if the time is run out after this webinar and you have more questions, you always can write to my email address, and I will pass your questions to our experts. So now I would introduce our experts, Leanne Howard, who is the master trainer for PAQ and the global agile expert. She is also business agility practice director at Planet and has over 25 years experience in delivering quality products. She is an international speaker with articles published in several magazines and a member of a number of industry organizations. So she has been recognized by her peers for innovation, winning an ICT Woman of the Year award. And we have also our expert, Mike Smith, who has over 40 years experience as a software developer, tester, businessman, and innovator. He is an independent endpoint assessor for 2 standards in the UK digital apprenticeship scheme, and he continues to develop a concept for practical assessments following the introduction of experiential learning academies for a number of large organizations. Mike is the UK representative to the ISTQB, International Software Testing Qualification Board. So now I would hand over to Mike to do the presentation about the PAQ.
Thank you very much, Susanna, for that introduction, making me feel very old with over 40 years experience, but here we go. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Thank you for listening in today. So I'm going to kick off the presentation and just talk a little bit about the structure of the PAQ product, and then hand over to Leanne at the appropriate juncture to go through a little bit more detail about the course, and I will come back and talk a little bit more about the exam. So, but let's kick off just by looking at the focus for this product, which is really looking at Agile Quality, and although we're talking quite a lot about testing here, but it's testing and quality, and we're looking at the focus of quality being the collective responsibility for the whole team, and that's something that Leanne will explain more later about how that is achieved in this product. So just a simple outline of the structure of the product. It consists of basically a 2.5-day practical learning course, and there's a big focus on the practical, as you'll hear later. The exam, which once again, practical focus, 2.5 hours with a 60% pass mark, with some additional time if you're sitting the exam in non-native language. During the course, there is a soft skills evaluation. The soft skills is a really important part of Agile, and it's not part of the formal exam as such assessment, but there is an evaluation, and we'll explain a little bit more about how that works and the value add that brings to this product. And really the product is based on something a little bit different from most certification schemes, professional certification. So it's based on a competency framework, which I'll outline a little more in a minute. Once again, this team responsibility for quality, which Leanne will talk more about, and also a set of recommended prerequisites for the candidates. So I'm actually going to start with those prerequisites, because it is quite important. This course is not a knowledge learning exercise with a multiple choice exam at the end, as a traditional, the majority of professional certs are. So there is a set of requirements that people need, and this is recommended in the course outline. So there are some Agile knowledge prerequisites, so that could be experience, or it could be one of the certification products that Susanna outlined earlier. There is some knowledge of test techniques needed. That may or may not be as formal as it's stated there. There are an awful lot of people, and I find in my other assessing work in the field, that there are a lot of people that have an intrinsic knowledge and use of some of these techniques without actually formally being able to explain them. There's obviously basic test terminology and the understanding between functional and non-functional testing, specific or particularly including performance usability. So there are some reasonably strong testing and general Agile prerequisites that we recommend before doing the course. Because the course is based on a competency framework, so what we're trying to do is really measure whether people can actually do something, and so really it's a holistic set of knowledge, skills and behaviours that candidates need to demonstrate during the course and the assessment. And so there isn't a traditional set of knowledge-based learning objectives with very specific questions around those in a multiple choice. It's very different. And so the competency framework is built around a set of areas which are listed there. So the course and the whole assessment is built around those. And for each one of those, there's an outcome that we are working towards for this product in terms of learning and assessment. For each of those outcomes, there's a set of measurable competency requirements. So without going into too much detail here, because I believe that this information is available from iSQI anyway, and Leanne is going to elaborate shortly as to how the course delivers on that. So what I will do is just give just a simple example of that first area, which is Agile mindset. So the outcome is that statement against it there, and the sample set of the competency requirements that we would expect successful candidates to be able to achieve are listed there. So that's really just a snapshot. And so I'm going to move on now and hand over to Leanne so that she can explain a little bit more about how the course delivers against those competencies. Leanne.
Thanks, Mike. So I just want to outline one of the key reasons that we have developed this course, and it's basically to reflect what is being stated in a number of the industry surveys right now. So things like the World Quality Report or the State of Agile report as examples, where organizations are moving towards Agile, and in most of the surveys, it's quoting 90% of organizations are using Agile. That's not necessarily in all their projects, but certainly the take-up around Agile is becoming the biggest methodology and framework that people are using. So people are understanding more about and using more agile practices, but they're not necessarily gaining all of the benefits. And in those surveys, it's talking about the practical application of, why we're doing a ceremony. So why are we doing a stand-up, for example? So people understand now the mechanism of doing that, but they're not understanding the benefits that they can get from it. So this course is very practical focused. And as Mike said, based on the competencies, it's when you've completed this course, you should be going back to your organization saying, I can do these things and I understand why I'm doing them. So I just want to cover off each one of the competency areas and just give you a little bit of a flavor about what's contained in the course. So Mike, can you just flick to the next slide? Thank you. So again, if you've been reading some of those industry reports, the agile mindset is actually key to the success of your team and your organization in realizing those agile benefits. So this competency actually goes throughout the whole of the course, and because it's all about practical application, there's plenty of opportunity for you sitting on this course to collaborate and communicate with the people on your course. And it may be you come on this course as the whole team together, which is a great experience to build up a combined agile mindset with your team, or maybe you come on the course and hear about what's happening in other organizations. But we give you plenty of opportunity to develop and practice these mindset skills, which are so important. The next one around faster delivery. So we talk about how we need to plan to optimize our delivery. So Agile is not about no planning. It's not about doing things ad hoc. It's very much about understanding what we need to do and not doing activities that are wasteful and not aligned to our end goal. As Mike said, the key focus is around building quality in. So really having that customer mindset. So understanding what it is that our customer needs. And every customer has a different perspective of quality. And we as individuals, we're all customers. So it's interesting to understand from a team perspective how we can all have our individual focus on quality and think about it in a different way, and then collectively deliver a better quality product to our customer. So balancing the both sides of the cost of quality model. So how much does it cost us to really build that quality in, and think about building that quality in earlier. So right from the requirements, not just once we have the code and the software. So how can we all as one team contribute to those activities and help each other to achieve that quality for our customer? The next thing is looking at engineering principles. So more and more, we're talking about how can we adapt our processes, but still ensure that they're repeatable and they're auditable, so that we are focusing on delivering that quality product. So things like estimation, I think that's probably one of the biggest questions that I'm asked. How do we do estimation? And we focus on that estimate from a team perspective, so that everyone has the opportunity to say why they think a particular user story is going to, or what the complexity of that user story is to deliver, so that everyone has buy-in right at the beginning to delivering that product. Continuous testing, in fact, continuous everything is one of the remits of business agility. So how do we achieve that continuous testing? How do we make things visual so that we know how we can measure it and how we're tracking to time? We are looking at doing testing right from day one. So having daily delivery of code. So that raises the question of regression testing. You know, if we're having drops of code each day, then that means we're doing regression testing each day. So how do we cope with those kind of volumes of regression testing, and what kind of techniques can we do to make sure that we are continuously testing? And then finally, we round up with scalability. So this is not a course solely focused on scalability, but we do have to identify that, as I said, more and more organizations are using Agile. So we're not just talking about agility within a team. We are now talking about across the organization, and how do those teams all work together. So again, it's very practical focus. So we lead you through and give you opportunities to experience these things. So how does it actually feel to be in a distributed team and working in a distributed team, and what are those challenges? Mike, next slide. So as I said, it's about the whole team approach to quality. How can we all contribute? How can we make a much better product for our customer? So what do we all need to do, and what techniques can we employ as members of a team that allow us to focus in on what it is our customers want? Not just does the software work correctly, but is it actually fit for purpose? And by involving all the different team members, we all have a different way of looking at things and a different focus. So if we can combine that and harness those different views, then we're going to deliver a better quality product for our customer. So I just want to run through the course outline. So as Mike said, it's over 2.5 days. We have aligned our the training course to those 6 key competencies that we talked about. There's a couple of call outs that are over and above those 6 competencies in planning and debt and TDD, just really so that the course flows in a reflection of how you would work when you are in your organization. So it's very much reflective of what you would do as a team if you were in a project. So we have various simulations. You'll see on that outline, there's various practical exercises called out. So we have set up a scenario that we continue throughout the course to give you lots of hands-on experiential learning opportunities. And it's a safe to fail environment, which is what we would hope you would have in your organization. So we give you lots of different ways that you can build that quality in, and encourage you to experiment and find different ways that work best for you and that will work best for your team. And then we have the exam either at the end of day 3, or Mike's going to outline in a bit other options for the exam.
Thanks, Leanne. So picking up from there, one of the really important aspects of this course focused around the agile mindset area and competencies. And so that's a key outcome. So during the course, candidates will be evaluated against the soft skills and behaviours listed under that competency area. They're not going to be formally assessed. It's not part of the exam in terms of pass or fail. However, the trainer will be engaging with the candidates during discussions and exercises, and using a fairly simple rubric against each of the detailed competencies, so that we can provide a sort of consistent measurement framework for the candidates across different courses and indeed training providers. And without wishing to go into all, sure, move on to the next slide. So here is just a very simple high-level rubric, which is saying how people will be looking at whether they've not met the requirement, whether they partly met it, whether they've fully met it. There's a series of do's and don'ts that the trainer will be looking out for from the candidates during the course. But actually coming on to the practical exam itself, the key part of the assessment is the practical. It basically consists of a sample project, so sort of mirroring the sort of sample exercises that are in the course. So a set of user stories and sprints. And so it's designed to cover the competency requirements in the framework. And once again, a little bit like the soft skills assessment, there's a rubric in place that ensures consistency of assessing across exams and assessors, because people are not taking simple yes, no, multiple choice questions. There are none of those in there. They are having to take a sample project and actually do something with it and actually answer questions in a very different way, in terms of having to really do something, create artifacts, use a system that's in place against that sample project. To complement that, there are, since the vast majority of the competency requirements can be met in that practical, there are some that are more difficult to meet in a 2.5 hour practical. So there are some short scenario questions with written answers to complement that practical. And iSQI have recently launched a new exam platform, which TestReach, which will be used, or is used, in fact, for the PAQ exam, and it's basically a browser-based exam, and there is a very smart piece of technology that enables you to put questions, answers. The answers can be in different formats written. There's spreadsheet areas, there's drawing area, simple drawing area, and there's areas for resources. So you can put containers with applications, you can put documents, HTML, and all sorts of resources as well, and get to look at either just a single resource or multiple resources resizing the screen. So that's the platform that's used, and that platform, that during the course there is a tutorial that comes so that candidates can get familiar with that platform before they actually get to take the exam. And iSQI will provide, I have listed out all of the prerequisites, if you like, that are required from a technical perspective. So in terms of type of laptop, screen size, browser, etc. But that will be something that you can get from iSQI. But there are, Leanne earlier mentioned about the different ways of sitting the exam. So now the exam can not just be sat at the end of the course, it actually can be sat on a different time, and it can be sat not just with an on-site proctor, but with a remote proctor. So there's a lot more flexibility both for candidates and training providers about how they operate PAQ. So that's me for now. So I'm going to hand back to Susanna in the studio, and she can come farm out any questions that you have of us.
Okay, many thanks, Leanne. Many thanks, Mike. Yeah, now it's on your turn. The participants of this webinar, if you have any questions, so please use the panel questions and type your questions in. For now, we don't have any questions. Maybe we'll wait some minutes. Okay, it seems okay, it seems now nobody have any question. Ah, here. Okay. Is there an option of resit if you fail the exam, and is the feedback given on what to improve? No, normally you don't have any feedback on what you can improve. Maybe some areas, but regarding on the assessor's evaluation. But of course, you can resit the exam. Any other questions?
I think if I could say, the exam, you do get plenty of opportunity during the course to practice all of the elements of the practical exam. So you should feel fairly confident going into the exam that you know, there's no surprises, there's no trick questions, and the exam is a reflection of what it is that you've done multiple times during the classroom experience. So I would hope that the candidates would go fairly confidently into the exam. As we've said, it's very much based on practical application. So you can't you know, misunderstand the question, because it's effectively doing what you've been doing throughout the 2.5 days in the course. So hopefully that alleviates that person's question. We positively mark in the exams as well. So the markers are actually trying to find marks, not negatively marking. So there's no negative marking, and it's not simply a here's the question and here's a number of pre-prepared answers. It's for the candidates to answer based on the practical learning that they've done throughout the course.
Okay, many thanks, Leanne. Another question, which is quite interesting. What do I need to do to become a trainer for PAQ? Maybe Leanne, you can answer this question.
So I can answer from a perspective of being a trainer and give you some of my experience. So I would say, obviously, a very in-depth understanding of the various agile methodologies, practices, and processes, and then a wide understanding of the Agile Manifesto and the principles on which everything Agile is based. So in order to be a trainer, then obviously you have to have that level of knowledge and experience across, I would say multiple organizations and multiple different practices and frameworks. Because the course is very much, as we've stressed a number of times, based on practical application. So as a trainer, you need to be able to share lots of stories about how you did things as a trainer, or how you observe things happening as a trainer, or as a coach, or as a member of a high performing agile team. So it's very much, to become a trainer, you really need to have that practitioner experience yourself. And I think, as with any training course, there are certain attributes that you need to have as a trainer. So you need to be very much people focused, which is in line with the agile mindset. There's certain techniques as a trainer that you would employ, so you would have to have knowledge of those aspects. So it's very much being an experienced trainer, and also having that in-depth practical experience. So it's not just about the knowledge, as Mike said when he introduced the course. It's not about just understanding the theory, but it's actually being able to practically employ it, and that you have actually done that and been there in a team yourself. Obviously, as well, it has a very high focus on quality. So having a background in quality engineering and quality practices, that's also something that you would need to become a trainer.
Okay, thank you, Leanne. Another question regarding the preparing for the exam. Would the training provider therefore give an honest feedback that, for example, a candidate is not ready to take the exam at the end of the course, as, for example, the candidate might not have the right mindset?
So the as Mike outlined when he was talking about the mindset, that assessment is happening continuously throughout the course. So the trainer will be giving them feedback throughout the course about whether they are aligned from a mindset perspective. We also do plenty of retrospectives during the course, so you will get opportunity to have 360 feedback from everyone that's in your team. So the mindset is definitely covered throughout the course. Obviously, if the trainer is seeing that a candidate maybe not grasping some of the techniques, and again, I can only talk from my own personal experience, then as a trainer, I would, help them and really focus in on those areas that I thought they needed some additional help in. But as I said, you do get plenty of opportunity throughout the course to practice all the techniques that you will need to learn. And again, you get out of a course what you put in. So if the trainer sees that you might need some additional information, or it's more about additional practice. So I would say, as a candidate, be prepared to do additional practice, and obviously reviewing the things that you've learned during the course in the evenings. So I would say that's a recommendation. And certainly, all trainers are going to be there to support the candidates on the course. No one wants anyone to fail the exam, but it's the learning experience that is the important thing.
Okay, many thanks, Leanne, for the interesting input. Okay, and there are some minutes left, and we have here maybe the last question. If not, of course, you can ask more. How does a training provider credit? So maybe in this I can answer by myself. Please write an email to us if you're interested to be accredited as a training provider. You'll get all the informations and also some forms to fill in and the agreement to sign. And yeah, that's not a problem. You can write to my email address, susanna.salem@isqi.org. One another question. Is it recommended that the candidate is currently working rather than just come out of the university?
Shall I take that one again? I would say as long as the candidate is meeting the prerequisites, that's the only kind of recommendation that we have. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I would say if they've been studying and working as part of their university degree in agile projects, maybe doing some work with industry in an agile way of working, then I would think that would be fine. So it's, do you meet the prerequisites, not necessarily whether you're coming out of university or not coming out of university.
Yeah, I'll chip in there as well, just to endorse that. And I see quite a lot of young people from coming out of education and in early stages in apprenticeships in the UK, and who would be quite capable of doing this as long as they have covered off enough of the prerequisites. So I don't think it's really how old you are, it's how good you are.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
I would also say that as long as that they have that level of understanding, it might actually be easier for them to come on the training because they haven't spent, 10 years of their career learning a different way of working. So maybe it might be an advantage for some people.
Okay, no more questions. Then thank you, Leanne and Mike, for this interesting presentation. To all attendees, also many thanks to attend our webinar. And if you need some more information, of course, you can always write to our contact or visit our webpage where you can find all the information needed. Many thanks and have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.